Let me tell you something that'll shake the dust off your faith. God is already in your tomorrow. While you're pacing the floor at night, trying to figure out how things are going to work out, heaven isn't in a panic. God is not scrambling for solutions. He's not up in glory trying to piece your life together with leftover parts. No, He's the Alpha and the Omega. That means before you ever took your first breath, He already spoke over your future. He declared the end from the beginning. You're playing checkers, but God's already won the chess game. While you're praying for answers today, God has already placed provision in tomorrow. You don't have to chase peace when the Prince of Peace is already waiting for you in what's next. See, we serve a God who doesn't live in time. He created time. He steps outside of it. He stands in your yesterday. He walks with you today. And He's already making arrangements for your tomorrow. That job you're worried about, He's already touched the heart of the person holding the keys. That healing you've been praying for, He's already sent the word ahead of you. That door you're afraid won't open, He's already marked it, authorized access. You're worried about a battle that's already been won. You're afraid of a closed door when God is building you a whole new house. But I understand it's hard to rest when life feels uncertain, when the present feels heavy and the future feels blurry. But don't confuse a cloudy window with a missing plan. God doesn't always show you the road ahead, because if you saw it too soon, you might talk yourself out of it. You might settle for comfort over calling. So instead, He leads you step by step, whispering, "Trust me." Because if He showed you tomorrow, you'd realize He's already made a way through what you haven't even walked into yet. I came to tell somebody who's standing at the edge of uncertainty, God's got your tomorrow. Your future is not hanging in the balance. It's anchored in His hands. You might not know what next week holds, but you know who holds next week. And that's enough. Stop measuring your future by the limits of today. Stop letting your current situation convince you that this is all there is. If you saw what God has prepared for you, you'd stop crying over what walked away. You'd stop stressing about what didn't work. God's tomorrow is bigger than your yesterday's pain. And listen, delay doesn't mean denial. Just because you're not there yet doesn't mean God forgot. Sometimes He holds you in today to build the strength you need to handle tomorrow. It's not punishment, it's preparation. You've been praying for next level blessings, but God knows next level blessings require next level obedience, next level trust, next level surrender. So He's shaping you in this season, stretching your faith, pressing you into His purpose, because tomorrow's victory can't be carried by yesterday's version of you. Yes, I know it gets dark sometimes. The nights get long. The questions get loud. But hold on, child of God. God hasn't brought you this far to leave you now. He's already walked through tomorrow, cleared the path, fought the enemy, and left the blessing sitting there waiting for you to arrive. All He needs from you today is to believe Him enough to take the next step. Just one more step, because He's not only the God of your history, He is the architect of your destiny. And He's saying, don't worry, I've got your tomorrow. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. Delay is not denial. We've got this habit of assuming that when God doesn't move on our timeline, He must have changed His mind. But I came to break that lie today. What's delayed is still destined. Just because the promise hasn't showed up yet doesn't mean it got lost in the mail. God doesn't misplace what He's spoken. His word doesn't expire, and His plans don't fold under pressure. What He said, He will do. But He'll do it when He knows you're ready, not when you think you're ready. There's something holy about the waiting. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's necessary. See, we want the blessing, but God wants you to be built for the blessing. If He gave it to you too soon, it would crush you. So He holds it, not to punish you, but to protect you. He's shaping your character in the waiting room. He's pruning your ego, developing your faith, teaching you how to trust without seeing. Because what good is a breakthrough if you don't know how to carry it? What good is elevation if your foundation's still shaking? Sometimes God hides the promise just long enough for you to grow into it. It's not that He's ignoring your prayers. He's answering them in a deeper place. You asked Him to make you strong, so He's building patience. You asked Him to enlarge your territory, so He's stretching your faith. You asked Him for peace, so He's allowing the storm to teach you how to rest in Him. Delay isn't a no. It's just a not yet. It's a divine pause, not a permanent stop. And I know how it feels to watch everyone else get what you're praying for. They're getting married, getting promoted, getting healed. And here you are still holding on to a word that hasn't come to pass. But listen, comparison will kill your confidence. Their lane is not your lane. Their timing is not your timing. And if God is taking His time with you, it means there's something unique about what He's doing in you. It's tailor-made. It's hand-stitched. He's not doing a rush job. He's crafting a masterpiece. So don't despise the delay. Don't curse the silence. Don't walk away from what God's still working on. The enemy wants you to give up 5 minutes before your miracle. He wants you to throw in the towel while heaven is still writing the final chapter. But I need you to hear me. God is not finished yet. That dry season you're in, it's temporary. That unanswered prayer, it's in transit. That burden you're carrying, it's birthing something greater. Delay is not God saying no. It's God saying, hold still. I'm preparing something bigger than what you prayed for. Sometimes He slows the promise to grow your obedience. He's checking if you'll serve even when it's slow. If you'll praise even when it's painful. If you'll trust Him when there's no sign, no signal, no confirmation. Just a word, because faith that only works in the light isn't faith. Real faith says, I don't see it, but I still believe it. I don't feel it, but I still trust Him. You see, God's got your tomorrow. And that means even when today feels like it's dragging, even when the answer seems far away, God is closer than you think. He's not slow. He's strategic. He's not late. He's aligning everything. The right time, the right people, the right opportunity. And when it finally comes, it'll come so fast your head will spin. But until then, wait well. Worship while you wait. Obey in the in between, because delay is just God's way of saying, I'm not done preparing you for the thing I've already prepared for you. There is a truth you need to grab onto and hold tight. Your pain has a purpose. Every struggle, every tear, every moment of heart touch is not wasted. It's not just random suffering that life threw your way. No, your pain is the soil where God plants seeds of strength, where he cultivates resilience, where he prepares you for the glory that's coming. Sometimes we want to run from pain, to hide from the hurt, to erase the memories of our brokenness. But what if I told you that your pain is the very place where God is working on your character, shaping your destiny, and writing the next chapter of your story? The trials you face today are not just obstacles, they are opportunities in disguise. They are the workshops of heaven where your faith is tested, your patience stretched, and your heart softened. You can't have the fullness of your tomorrow without the foundation of today's fire. That burning, that pressure, it's not to break you, it's to build you. Like gold refined by fire, you're being purified, made more precious, more valuable, and more prepared for what lies ahead. I know it hurts. I know sometimes it feels like the pain will never end. You might be wondering why you have to endure this storm when others seem to be walking on calm seas. But remember, God uses pain to teach lessons that joy can't. Pain teaches humility. It teaches perseverance. It teaches compassion. When you come out of this valley, you won't just be stronger. You'll be wiser. You'll be able to encourage someone else who's in the fight because you've been in the fight. Your pain will become your platform. There's a reason God doesn't always remove the pain immediately. Sometimes he allows it to stay because he's preparing you for something greater than relief. He's preparing you for revelation. When you walk through pain with God, you gain a depth of understanding, a spiritual insight that only comes through struggle. You learn to lean not on your own understanding, but on his everlasting arms. You learn that even in the darkest night, the dawn is coming. Pain pushes you to depend more on God and less on your own strength. Let me be clear. This isn't about glorifying suffering or saying that pain is easy. It's about recognizing that God is the God of purpose, and he is not wasting what you're going through. Your story is not a tragedy. It's a testimony in the making. When you look back one day, you will see that every tear was a seed that blossomed into breakthrough. Every setback was a setup for a comeback. And every heartbreak was a step toward your healing. The enemy wants you to believe your pain is meaningless, that it's a dead end, that it defines you. But I'm here to tell you that pain is temporary, but purpose is eternal. God turns mourning into dancing. He turns ashes into beauty. He turns brokenness into breakthrough. And the greatest part is this: you don't have to understand the pain to trust the process. You don't have to have all the answers to believe God's got your tomorrow. So when the hurt comes, don't run from it. Face it with faith. Let God use it to refine you, to remind you that you are not alone, and to reveal that your pain is the preparation for your promise. Your trials are not your end. They are your making. Your pain is not the pause, it's the prelude. Hold on, because on the other side of your pain is a glory so bright, so powerful, so life-changing that you'll realize it was all worth it. God is not unaware of your pain. He is walking with you through it. He's whispering peace in the midst of the storm. And one day soon, you'll stand on the other side and say, that pain, that struggle, that trial, it was the very thing God used to get me here. So don't lose heart. Don't give up. Your pain has a purpose, and God's got your tomorrow. There is a power in your God that the world doesn't understand. When you look at your circumstances, it might seem impossible, like there's no way out, no solution, no breakthrough. But here's the truth: God specializes in the impossible. The very thing that has you trapped, stuck, and scared is exactly where God is about to move. He makes a way when there seems to be no way. When all human reasoning fails, divine intervention begins. If you keep your eyes on your problem, you'll stay defeated. But if you fix your eyes on the God who conquered death, who parted seas, and who raised the dead, then you will see your impossible become possible. The Bible is full of stories about impossible situations. Think about Moses standing before the Red Sea. There was no bridge, no boat, no backup plan. Humanly speaking, it was a dead end. But God said, "Move forward." And what happened? The waters split and a dry path appeared. That's not just history, that's a blueprint for your life. Whatever wall is blocking your way, God can break it down. Whatever mountain seems too tall, He can level it. Whatever valley looks too dark, He can light it up. It's easy to forget that the same God who created the universe with a word is the same God who's working behind the scenes in your situation right now. When it looks like the doctors have given up, God is still the great physician. When it looks like your finances are gone, God is still the God of abundance. When it looks like the relationship is over, God is still the Redeemer who restores what's broken. He doesn't need a plan B because His plan A is always perfect. He's not limited by what you see. His power goes beyond sight, beyond understanding. The impossible is God's specialty because it forces you to depend on Him. When you think you can't go on, He shows you that you never had to rely on your own strength in the first place. The impossible exposes the limits of human effort and reveals the unlimited power of God's grace. When the world says, "No," God says, "Watch me." When the situation looks hopeless, God is crafting a miracle. Sometimes He even waits until you've exhausted every option so that when He does move, there's no doubt it's Him. But here's the catch. God's miracles require faith. The same faith that moved mountains and calmed storms is the faith you need to say, "God, I don't see a way, but I believe You are the way." Faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting the one who does. It's about stepping out on the water, even when the waves are high. You might not understand how God will do it, but you can trust that He will. Don't let your impossible situation paralyze you. Instead, let it be the spark that ignites your faith. Let it push you into the arms of the one who can do exceedingly, abundantly above all you ask or imagine. The obstacles in your life are not there to stop you. They're there to show you how big your God really is. So when you face that impossible test, that impossible debt, that impossible relationship, remember God specializes in impossible. He's already working behind the scenes, moving mountains, parting seas, opening doors, and making ways you never dreamed possible. Your job is to keep believing, keep praying, keep stepping forward in faith. Because the God who makes the impossible possible is the same God who's got your tomorrow. And when that breakthrough comes, it won't just change your life. It will testify to the power of a God who never quits, never fails, and always wins. Trusting the process, even when you don't understand the plan, is one of the hardest things we are called to do. We live in a world that demands answers, immediate results, and clear directions. But faith asks us to walk by trust and not by sight. Sometimes God's plan looks like a maze with no exit, a foggy road with no signpost, or a delay that makes no sense. Yet, in those moments, faith isn't about seeing the whole picture. It's about believing the one who holds the picture. His thoughts are higher than ours. His ways are greater than ours, and his timing is perfect, even when it doesn't line up with our expectations. I know how it feels to want clarity, to want to know why things are happening the way they are, to want a map when all you have is mystery. But God isn't obligated to explain his plan to us before he reveals it through his work. There's a divine wisdom that comes from surrender, not understanding. When you let go of the need to control every detail, you make room for God to move. You release yourself from anxiety and open your heart to peace. That's faith in action. Trusting the process when the path looks uncertain. God's plan for your life is not a random series of events. It's a carefully orchestrated masterpiece. Even when it feels like you're wandering, you're walking according to a divine script that's been written just for you. There will be twists, turns, and detours, but none of them are wasted. Each step is preparation. Each season is training. Each delay is refinement. You might not see the reason now, but God is working all things together for your good. Sometimes we want to rush ahead because we think we know better, but God's ways require patience. He asks us to wait, to trust, and to keep our eyes on him even when the plan looks confusing. Remember, if you could understand everything God is doing, it wouldn't require faith. It would be certainty. Faith is believing without seeing, trusting without knowing, and walking without having all the answers. It's saying, God, I don't understand, but I trust you anyway. The process might include seasons of waiting, seasons of testing, and seasons of growing. It might feel like God is silent, but he's still speaking through his spirit. He's still moving behind the scenes, even if it looks like nothing is happening. Don't mistake God's silence for absence. Sometimes silence is God's way of preparing your heart, positioning you, or protecting you. Trust that he is working even when you can't see it. And here's the beautiful part. When you finally arrive at the destination, when God reveals the fullness of his plan, you will look back and realize that every step, every confusion, every unknown was necessary. You'll see that the process shaped you into the person who could handle the blessing, the promotion, the breakthrough. You'll understand why the timing was so crucial. The plan was never just about the outcome. It was about who you were becoming along the way. So don't be discouraged by the mystery. Don't be anxious because you don't have all the answers. Hold on to the truth that God's ways are higher and his plans are good. Trust the process. Walk by faith, not by sight. Keep your heart open and your spirit willing. The same God who began a good work in you will bring it to completion. Your faithfulness in the process will lead to your fulfillment in the promise. Remember, faith is not the absence of doubt. It's the decision to trust anyway. Even when you don't understand, even when the plan is unclear, God's got your tomorrow. He's got it all worked out. And your job is to keep trusting, keep believing, and keep stepping forward, knowing that his plan is perfect and his timing is right. Your breakthrough, your destiny, your tomorrow, it's not just waiting on your talents, your gifts, or how much you know. It's waiting on your obedience. The promise isn't for the gifted alone, it's for the obedient. God honors faithfulness more than flashiness. He looks at your heart, your willingness to say yes, even when the road is unclear, even when the cost seems high. The difference between those who receive their miracle and those who miss it is often found in obedience. The simple act of doing what God asks, no matter how small, no matter how inconvenient. Obedience is faith in motion. It's showing up when you don't feel like it. It's speaking life when the news is bad. It's continuing to serve when there's no applause. Sometimes the journey to your tomorrow requires walking through a desert of doubt, but obedience is what keeps your feet moving forward. God doesn't just want your talents. He wants your heart surrendered. He wants a vessel ready to carry his blessings, not just someone who's waiting to be blessed. Think about Abraham. God told him to leave everything familiar and go to a land he didn't know. Abraham obeyed without seeing the full plan. Because of that obedience, generations were blessed through his seed. Or think about Noah building an ark when there was no rain in sight. His obedience saved a whole world. The miracles we celebrate today often come from someone saying, "Ayes," before the miracle is visible. Obedience doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's the quiet choices, the prayers whispered in the night, the integrity maintained when no one is watching, the kindness extended to the broken. Those are the seeds of blessing. Those are the foundations of a tomorrow filled with favor. God sees the small acts of obedience and multiplies them beyond what we can imagine. But here's the challenge. Obedience requires sacrifice. It asks you to trust beyond your understanding, to give up control, to step out of your comfort zone. It might mean saying no to what's easy and yes to what's hard. It might mean enduring rejection when you choose path God's laid out instead of the world's way. But the reward far outweighs the cost. Obedience positions you for the breakthrough that gifts alone can't secure. You may be wondering why you've been waiting so long, or why the blessings haven't come despite your talents. Maybe you've been gifted in many ways, but God is waiting on your heart to catch up, to say, "Lord, not my will, but yours." Your gifts open doors, but your obedience keeps them open. Your breakthrough isn't just about what you can do. It's about what you're willing to do for God's glory. Faith without works is dead. It's the obedience that breathes life into your faith and moves heaven to act. When you obey God's voice, you align yourself with his power. You step into the flow of his promises. And when that happens, nothing can stop your tomorrow from arriving. So if you're waiting for your breakthrough, ask yourself, am I walking in obedience today? Am I saying yes to God's calling, even when it's uncomfortable? Am I willing to trust him enough to follow where he leads, no matter the cost? The promise on the other side of your obedience is worth every sacrifice. God honors obedience because it shows your trust in him. And when you trust him enough to obey, you unlock a tomorrow filled with hope, favor, and fulfillment. The gifts and talents you have are valuable, but the key to your future is obedience. It's not just about what you can do. It's about what you will do for God's purpose. Remember, your tomorrow belongs to the obedient. The breakthrough you desire, the blessing you've been praying for, is waiting on your whys. So stand up, step out, and obey. Your obedience today is the foundation for God's promises tomorrow. Keep walking, keep trusting, keep saying yes, because God's got your tomorrow.